All right, we're live. I am officially back in Charleston after a pretty long travel day yesterday. My flight got delayed once I landed in North Carolina due to storms and whatnot. I ended up getting home at like 10. But we're back, and I'll just kick it over to you guys because I wasn't really tuned in to the action yesterday since I was flying. I saw it was a really good day all around, and then I saw last night the European Union passed their stimulus package of I think like 850 billion, somewhere in that neck of the woods. I also saw this morning on CNBC, Kevin O'Leary was saying that another stimulus package is a bad idea and that you got to let capitalism kind of take care of itself and you can't keep zombifying companies that aren't doing well. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, what do you guys? First off, did you guys make any plays yesterday? And what are you looking at today?
Yeah, I bought Sono yesterday. I have been doing some homework on them. I've heard enough good things from people I trust in the mix where that thing seems either ready to get acquired or break out on another level. So I loaded up on some finally yesterday. And yeah, I also bought a little more booking on the dip. And those were my moves yesterday.
Yeah, and it was another wild day of trading in APT. If anyone played that one, that stock went up and down a few times. But the big move was when Trump tweeted a picture of himself in a mask, and the stock ran up about $1.50 in about a half a second. It was nuts.
So let me ask you a question about that, because I was thinking about that last night. And obviously, I get when a stock goes up 2% in a half a second, it's just because there's
10%, more like 10.
What actually causes that type of immediate jump? Because I know if I'm jumping, if I see Trump buy or put up a picture on Twitter of him in a mask, and I go on to buy APT within seconds, it's not moving at all. So is that some massive firm that saw that and instantly just dumped millions and millions into that? Explain how a stock that quickly.
No, it basically catches the stock off guard, and what that means is the book of orders is not able to keep up with the quick demand of the stock. So if you had an order out to sell the stock up 50 cents or $1 and just had it out there, someone comes in with a massive buy order. It doesn't even have to be massive. It depends on the stock. Let's say 200,000 shares. They take everything that's on the book and it quickly takes every offering that's out there. And it looks like, it's a massive buyer. But really what it is sellers don't have a chance to come in with an order quickly. So many times you'll see these stocks spike up and then they drop almost half of what they gained in the next couple of minutes because people are able to come in with orders that they would have had if they knew the stock was going to get up there. And that happens on both sides of the coin. When it's going down, it's the same thing. So it's a temporary supply problem is what you can call it.
But in saying that, that does mean that there were enough people who saw a tweet and decided to all pile into a couple names.
Right. No question about it.
Yeah, that stock is a wild day trading stock. There's no doubt about it. It's along with a lot of other stocks. There's no doubt about that. I finally closed my plug short yesterday and then actually turned it into a long and then ended up selling it at the close or after hours, which maybe I did a little too early because it looks like it's having another one of these pop days, but we'll kind of see what plug does.
And I covered most of my short. I'm still short and thinking if it gets above 9, I'm going to put some more out again. But yesterday was amazing. I mean, when you look at stocks like Amazon, there's no boundaries to the amount they'll buy that stock and a list of others just like it. And I see the stock's up again, which...
Well, yeah, their price target got raised to 3,800. So it was 3,200 a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they were at around 3,700 by the time they report earnings, which is in like 2 weeks from now. And then, I mean, I'm a pretty big Amazon shareholder, but I've been trimming on the way up just because,
How could you not? As have I. I own 10 shares right now and figure that's enough.
Yeah, it's just gotten ridiculous. And I kind of think the same thing is going to happen this quarter that happened last quarter. The stock's going to run up to their earnings. They'll have a respectable quarter, but it'll naturally sell off like Netflix did just because so many people are buying into the name. I could be dead wrong there. I kind of think that's what's going to happen to a lot of these stocks, except Microsoft and Google. I think
That's why I bought Google last week. I'm amped. Already up almost 5% on it.
Nice. Yeah, I think Microsoft and Google are, even though they've also been crushing it, it almost just seems like they're, I don't want to say the forgotten bunch in that group because they're absolutely killing it, but it seems like they don't get quite as much love as Amazon does and as some of those high fly tech names do. So,
and I think you have to look at IBM's earnings yesterday as a positive catalyst there. Like I know Kramer was eyeing that down earlier in the day as a big thing to look for to see what would happen from there, and they popped, had good earnings. You have to think that's naturally a good thing for a Microsoft.
Yeah, and also finally we saw the chip stocks really pop yesterday. AMD had a fantastic day, and Mike, did you buy AMD last week?
I've been in AMD. I've been in them since the low 40s.
Well, I bought AMD for a swing trade last week and thought that the timing was a little off. And yesterday, got in the green on that. Today, it looks like it might continue. I might completely get out of that.
I'm getting out of it today. I was waiting for a pop. Everyone kept talking about it. It's going to pop. I'm not a huge AMD fan.
I'm just not into the chip stocks. It's not my thing.
NVIDIA to me, I like NVIDIA. That's my breadwinner there. Dan, you got me in that stock a few months ago. It's run up like crazy. I'm not even getting rid of any of it because I think they're just in such a powerful spot. And I hear so many people, oh, they've run up a lot. This is a good time to take profits. I look at that as time to get in more, if anything.
Yeah.
You know what I found interesting yesterday was AstraZeneca's action. They come out with this pretty damn good news about the vaccine. And the stock early on was up, large, before the opening. And by the time the stock opened, it just kind of sold off and continued to be weak most of the day. And that just we kind of talked about it a little bit, I think, yesterday, in that these big drug companies, even if they come up with a vaccine, how much money are they going to make from a vaccine? And how does it really affect the stock price? And obviously with the small stocks like Sorrento, that guy was on Kramer again last night. I mean, he makes it sound like you could get the vaccine, today. He's so bullish on his own company, but that's SRNE. But the larger names like AstraZeneca or any of them, Abbott Labs, Bristol Myers, it's just not enough to get the vaccine. It's good for a pop.
Well, also when you see like Moderna, their execs selling off stock on the day it pops, it makes you just have zero interest in being in it.
But given that Moderna is a vaccine kind of company, and they will benefit a lot if they're the ones with the vaccine first, unlike these big giant drug companies.
Yeah, I just see like when I look at, I've been following a lot more insider buying and selling lately, and when I see Moderna pops on that news last week and the next day their top two execs are selling off like crazy, clearly they're not that close to a vaccine. That's how I look at that.
Yeah, either that or the market. Like I thought Kramer actually said something interesting yesterday where he was like, the reason that stock sold off, what is it, AZN? Is that the ticker?
AstraZeneca, you mean?
Yeah, he was basically like, in their report couldn't have been better for what they were doing. The reason they sold off was because behind closed doors, what Wall Street wanted was they wanted them to say, we're taking this to market right now. and this is too serious.
Yeah, but that was never going to happen.
Exactly, and that's kind of where I was sitting back these last few weeks thinking to myself, like, all right, anytime there's any sort of positive vaccine news, we're going to get a serious pop in the market, even if there is a vaccine, so much needs to happen before everyone then has the vaccine, before the vaccine is going to actually have a positive impact on the economy. And I know it's all forward looking ahead, but at the end of the day, how much should a market really pop due to positive vaccine news? It's one thing if the market says, hey, we have 2 billion people that are going to have this vaccine by the end of the year, but just saying that the results look positive, it just seems like a pipe dream right now. And maybe the market is trying to come to terms with that.
And also, I think it was Kramer who mentioned that if we do get a vaccine too early, it's going to be negative to the market because all of the Fed help will stop.
We're not getting a vaccine.
And people will talk about the Fed raising rates rather than
let's we know how this game works. There's no vaccine coming till at least November, guaranteed.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's all played out regardless. It's set up purposely. So we won't be seeing whether it's any way you spin it. We've got some runway before there's clarity on a vaccine, which will be good for the market naturally.
Yeah. So are you guys looking at anything today specifically?
I just want to keep trimming. I think they're giving us gifts with this kind of move. I'm trying to decide, do I want to sell a little Microsoft before the earnings? That's my big decision today.
What's going on with Vuzi, Dad? What is this company? I bought a little at the way end of the day yesterday. It looks like it's on a water slide.
I mean, they've gone up like 600% in the last 2 months.
Yeah, let's get it up 6,000%. Get Mark Roberts keeps hitting us up with these stocks after they go to the moon. Like, where are they when they're on Earth, Mark? Come on. I keep hearing about this. I look at it. It's up 14%. It's like, great, man. Where was this 8 hours ago?
I don't know. My question to you, Mike, is why'd you buy it yesterday?
When Bob's like, oh, I jumped in case it goes up more, that's usually a signal it is going up more. Every time I've heard that, I'll get in one of Dad's stocks and it goes way up. So I only bought 1,000 shares. Figured, wet my beak a little and hold it.
Well, let's see what happens today.
Yeah, Mark needs to be throwing these out before these runs. I've heard like 5 or 6 of these the last couple of years. Oh, Mark Roberts loves this. I love a lot too when I'm seeing it up a ton.
We'll have to get Mark on here as a guest speaker. Maybe he'll put on his gloves and his face mask because he's worried he might get the virus through the screen.
I like Mark's tactic, though. It's like he picks a winner when it's up huge. It's like, oh, Bob, check out this stock. It's like me telling you about Ericsson after it popped off after earnings. Look at this thing. I'm loving it. But, yeah, Mark's the man. We got to get him on here. And Nancy, too. That would be a fun segment.
Yeah, Nancy's actually the one who bought the stock, by the way.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
What?
So let's see what's going on this morning. Most active radar. NIO back on there. No surprise there.
Conj stock. Who's coming on our podcast later?
Conj likes NIO.
Yeah, he's a big NIO guy. Owns a ton.
I mean, really? It's that's a stock that's really funny.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, dude, it caught me on the bottom a bit, but he's like, I've been crushing it.
Well, NIO had that big sell pro. Didn't Goldman downgrade it to a sell 2-3 days ago?
Conj got in after the downgrade.
Okay.
They look like they're going to have a nice pop today. Nicola got slammed today. They look like they're going to rebound a little bit, even though I personally think that company's a scam. Workhorse.
Because they're not Elon Musk. Like, they've just rode momentum off of, oh, well, we're in the Musk space. Like, we're a legit competitor. It's like, maybe the Rolland group has to just say we're competing with Elon Musk and go public.
DraftKings on the gainer radar for this morning.
What did I tell you guys? I sent you both articles yesterday. What would happen? Athletes come back. There's been a total of 2 positive cases between NBA and NHL camps. So that's naturally positive news for DraftKings.
Penn National on the positive radar for active gainers this morning.
Good.
Along with God, there are a lot of. Today's going to be
paid, baby.
I mean, today just feels like it's going to be more of yesterday. The question is it going to be, or is it going to open up and then throw a wrench? It always just seems like whenever things seem obvious, that's when they take a turn.
Like Leon always says, no one has a damn clue.
Yeah, and Leon is pretty right on that.
Yeah, as he's right about Zillow, which I've yet to get back into.
Peloton got an upgrade today. I think a price target raise up to like 88 or something. Can you believe that?
I don't like that. I'm not seeing that one.
I can't believe that because the story hasn't changed since the stock was in the high 40s at all.
Well, the only story that's changed is you've funneled more and more people into the notion of not joining a gym anymore and
That's what I mean, though. That was the narrative in the heart of it.
Isn't that's a very powerful narrative when you think about it?
100%. But you're right. It is a powerful narrative, but it's a powerful narrative that maybe should make the stock go from the low 40s to the high 40s. And then it's that same continued narrative that takes it to the high 50s. And then the same narrative that takes it to now the 80s. And that's my issue in general right now is unless there's something new to this story, we all know that the pandemic has shaken up the universe and now at-home stocks are going to be more popular.
I think Peloton, the way, and I know it's not smart to do this for our viewers, just to jump on a stock due to thinking maybe there's a chance of a takeover. But when you look at the story that could pop with Peloton, it's that. The next part to add some ammo to that is, well, are they a takeover target for where we're heading with wearables? And they are. They really are on a whole nother level, more than any fitness company in history. When you look at their dynamics, I'd be shocked if they are not acquired by an Apple in the next couple of years, really. I really would. Like, I don't see them being a standalone company long term. They just seem to be a perfect cog for what Apple's doing now with wearables and healthcare. I'd be shocked if they don't. If I'm Apple, I'm buying Peloton. I think it's an absolute perfect synergy. And, they don't want to wait too long on that.
I don't know. If you look back, it's not Apple's strategy to buy big companies. They buy.
Yeah, but let's talk about where Apple is now from where they were a few years ago. It's a service industry business on a whole other level.
I think Tad's more saying Apple doesn't buy companies that have market caps of like 50 bill that are.
I know, but I think Apple is doing so much right now with getting set up for where we're heading with healthcare with these Apple Watches. And I find it hard to believe that that's not a perfect sync for a morning workout to have people's heartbeat data on another level with that. I just think that they're set up to do that. Maybe a Walmart buys them with what they're doing now, rolling up. I think they own Aetna. I just think one of those behemoths would make sense of buying a at-home gym equipment that just latches to your wrist for data when you think about it. Like I really, that's the only thing I could think of with Peloton that would make sense to just own it and hold is the notion of they're going to be tough to compete with for one, and two, they are a very possible takeover for the world we live in right now for one of these guys.
Well, anything's possible. I mean, I could see Peloton buying one of these fitness companies, thinking ahead when people are going to go back into the gyms and setting up studios of Peloton.
They already do that, though. Like, I don't know.
They could get a lot of real estate quickly.
I don't think that if I'm Peloton, I don't find that to be appealing personally. The notion of buying brick and mortar to increase expenses. If anything, their model to me is way more appealing with this.
Look, even Amazon went that route. They started opening up stores, right?
And then started closing them.
Well, that's because of what went on here.
Well, either way. There's a lot of friction when you're opening up storefronts. And guys, bring up BBBY. I know I brought that up offline to you, Dan. Bed Bath & Beyond. I know they closed a couple hundred stores lately, and it seemed like the stock acted negatively off that news. I look at that as a positive. I think they should have axed stores a long time ago before the pandemic. And I'm wondering if these guys have some legs here, because where we're heading anyway, they should be way more focused on e-commerce. I know students are not necessarily heading back to the dorms with much clarity, but I'm not really concerned about Bed Bath & Beyond being an Amazon victim at all. I think that they've been beaten down to a pulp, and I know they've come back a bit since their lows in March, but I think there's opportunity here.
That's a real tough one because they definitely lost their way. They changed around their top management. It seems to me that it's easy to duplicate through Amazon or any of the other e-commerce sites.
When you say easy to duplicate, in terms of what?
All the stuff that you buy at Bed Bath & Beyond can easily be bought online.
I go back to the whole duplicating thing with Amazon. I think people like specific things for a reason. Like I went into Bed Bath & Beyond last week to get a scale because I didn't want to wait for a couple days on Amazon to get it delivered. Yeah, that was going into the store. Not to say it was packed by any means because it wasn't, but I do think they have a powerful enough brand where they're not going to just be Amazon. I just think these guys aren't going anywhere. It's almost like Best Buy. They didn't go anywhere.
I don't know.
They had a really good thing going with Bed Bath & Beyond with the students, and that seems to have died a slow death, especially with this pandemic.
I kind of think Bed Bath & Beyond and Best Buy. I know I was telling you this, and I know this is not even a fair comparison because they're completely different sectors, but they both remind me of Blockbuster when you think of just life as a whole. Like, it's tough to imagine, in my opinion, a life in 10 to 15 years from now with either of those companies.
Yeah, and the reason it's different, though.
Let me finish for a second. You're talking about a scale. And we all know that Amazon is moving in the direction and will be there soon where you'll get that scale within 2 hours. So why are you running out to Bed Bath & Beyond?
Well, Bed Bath & Beyond can set themselves up for that too. The difference with Blockbuster, they weren't set up for e-commerce. They were delusional in thinking they didn't have to understand the semantics behind data with usability. So that's where they went extinct.
I just don't know what either of those companies have unique that Amazon doesn't have. Like, what would you go online for on Bed Bath & Beyond or Best Buy's e-commerce site that isn't going to be better and less expensive and probably get to you quicker on Amazon? I just can't answer that.
At the moment, a lot of Amazon, it's taking them, as we've seen, they're not at the point at all or even close to having something dropped off on demand for an affordable price. So I still think that there's a verdict out for that, for the actual cost of getting things on demand from Amazon versus walking down the street or even hyper localizing that with a Bed Bath & Beyond.
Are you buying?
I'm not buying. I just think it's an interesting thing to keep an eye on because I think they've been just completely thrown to the curb off of the store closing, and I don't think that's a bad thing for them. I thought they should have closed a lot of their stores. Like, they should be an e-commerce focused business. When you think of how great of a job Walmart has done, and I know they're on a much bigger level than Bed Bath & Beyond, but a lot of companies can take a page out of Walmart's book. They have set themselves up to be a major threat of Amazon's. When you really think about it now, they are more than a thorn in the side. That they have a legit business. Like, I'm planning on dumping my Amazon around earnings and throwing it all into Walmart. That's, as of now, that's my thinking.
It's a bold play right there. I would say that if I had a large enough bankroll, I'd probably short Bed Bath & Beyond and Best Buy until they were inevitably just no longer companies in this world. Because that's just, when I look at the direction the world is heading, it's, again, and we'll move on after that, but I see it. I just don't picture them in the future.
So why are they still around?
I think you still need a showroom for televisions.
And that's going to be.
I just don't think everything's going to just be umbrellaed by Amazon. Like, I just don't. I know they've crushed it. They've done a lot of great things, but there's only so many sectors that people actually will be down with that for. Like convenience store items, groceries, I get. Movies, I get. But when you get a guy like Corey talking to you about fashion, he's never buying anything on Amazon clothes-wise. So that makes you think there's certain things that people just want what they want with a brand attached. And maybe there's partnerships there where Amazon, maybe there's some sort of roll up with the Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know.
So what are your guys' picks of the day here? Or Dad, you going to be day trading APD again?
I don't know. I'll see what's going on. I'm going to be in and out today, so
Bob looks like he's
I'm
running.
not going to have a lot of time. What's up?
You look like you're heading out of stocks today, fully.
No, my big concern today is just to figure out what to do with Microsoft. Like I said, I might sell like 300 or 400 shares or something like that.
Yeah, you've been selling off a lot before big runs still. Maybe you should just hold tight.
So if you're listening to this, buy Microsoft because Bob's selling it. It's going to 250.
Yeah, Bob sold
you
Amazon and it went up 3,000%.
I kind of do think Microsoft is going to almost go in a straight line to 250. And obviously, who knows? But
no one knows. Everyone is pretty bullish on it. That's why it's hard to make a decision about it. Maybe, usually the best thing to do is nothing. But
yeah, that's what I'm doing today. Nothing.
It's hard to do that. And Donkey Kong gives you good trading every day. That's a great. You buy that thing near the close, it trades up in the after hours. It seems like every day it's the same.
I'm pumped to get out of that stock once I'm back in the green and just wait to dip my toes in and out. I'm not a fan of them. It seems too fluff.
DraftKings for our viewers. We call it.
I don't like how many people are in that stock. I've had too many people hitting me up. I don't like being on bandwagons that are.
I mean, Mike, by the way that stock's acted, I think a lot of people got flushed out. Stock came down 20 points.
That's why I own it right now. But I'm going to get out when it's not flushed out again.
What about the airlines and the cruises today? Anything going on there?
They should both go extinct. I want nothing to do with any of that crap.
Did you feel safe on your flight then?
Yeah, everyone was wearing masks, and that's really all they could do. So, yeah, I did feel safe.
I really have no interest in flying. Like, I hated airplanes before all this. You got to pay me to get on a plane. I might just start John Maddening this thing and getting one of those tour buses. Could be good branding for Lodell and Bootstrap, too.
I like it.
Get a Volkswagen minibus, like from the 60s.
Get the guy from The Prophet on here. We could jump on.
We should start, and this is something that we'll figure out here probably going into next week, but I think it'd be cool if we had like a Rolland market mashup Twitter where, when we were making trades, day trades specifically, we could just tweet our ins and outs. I feel like that'd be cool for our viewers to start following along because we do this in the morning. And then I don't know about you, Mike. I know Dad does a lot. I know I do a lot, moving in and out of stocks, actually day trading. I think it'd be cool to post some stuff about that. We could talk more about it. I just think.
Yeah, I think that's we're going to start putting together some subscription here soon. Time is money. And at the end of the day, all that sounds great. But we got to pay some bills here.
100%. But the action is where, this is great what we do in the 30 minutes. What would be way more useful for anyone watching is if they were dialed in to seeing what's going on in about 45 minutes from now when the market's fully open and positions are starting to settle in, price discovery is happening, and then the day trades start, and then bam. That's when it's way more exciting. So I think we got to figure out a way to bring that to our viewers and show them, once the market's open, what's actually going on, because there's a lot of great stuff going on.
I think we should do some live shows on Lodell launches where we go around the country and just random town and doing Rolland market mashup with the people.
I love that.
Yeah, kind of like Mark Zuckerberg going around pretending he was going to run for president, even though I don't think he was pretending.
All right, guys, we'll have a good day. Let's get after it.
All right, guys. See ya.
Mashups.